Charlie's trapped in Halloran's town.
I don't care what it takes. I want him right here, on his knees.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. Welcome to another review, and this is going to be one of my rare movies you may have missed reviews. And this is for a film that came out in 1991 called Run. The film is directed by Jeff Burrows and it stars a very young Patrick Dempsey, as well as Kelly Preston, Ken Pogue and A.C. Peterson. Right, the film focuses on Patrick Dempsey's character, Charlie, who is, he's a student, really. He's a little bit, I think he's a law student, and he gets a job, he's working as a part-time mechanic. He gets a job delivering a Porsche to this, American town. He ends up getting there. He's a bit of a gambler. He's a bit of a whiz when it comes to poker. He gets taken by the cab driver to like a underground gambling casino. He gets involved in a poker game. He takes everybody's money, which really annoys Denny Halloran, who is the son of the guy that owns the city, the mob boss that owns the city. They have this argument. He ends up tripping over and banging his head and dying, this Denny Halloran. Then the whole town basically is after Patrick Dempsey. The police, because there's a $50,000 reward on him, so the police are after him. The police are all corrupt. These mob guys are looking for him because the mob boss, he really wants to get his hands on this Charlie, and he spends the rest of his time running throughout the city trying his best to survive. Right. What are my thoughts on Run? Well, this was a recommendation to me, and thank you very much for that. This is a film I had completely forgotten about. This is a film that I used to have on VHS way back in the 90s. I used to watch it all the time, and I completely forgotten about this film. This happens sometimes with movies. I'm sure it happens to all of you as well. And when I was reminded, you need to check out Run from 1991, it was like, oh, that rings a bell. And then when I saw the poster, I'm like, that really rings a bell. And then it just started slowly coming back to me, and I definitely remember this one. And this is definitely a movie that I suspect many of you either never heard of, haven't seen. And it's a really fun thriller, really. It's a non-stop roller coaster as well. Once this thing gets going, it does not stop. You do not come up for air. Now, there are elements of this film that are very much of the time in the 90s. There's some, I don't know how you describe it, some odd writing here and there, I suppose, that kind of is at odds with the rest of the film, some of the writing here. And what I mean by that is, he's in this very, very serious situation. This is not a light situation. It's not a comedy at all, this thing. But Patrick Dempsey's character, Charlie, keeps coming up with one-liners here and there. And some of them are quite funny because it's almost like, I can't believe this is happening to me, I can't catch a break sort of thing. And then some of them are just odd one-liners. For example, when a couple of cops fall in their cop car, kind of fall off this big car park thing, and he just kind of throws a quip, and he's just kind of like, that didn't fit the film. So I mean, yeah, you could throw a couple of things at this film here and there, but as I've said, once it starts, once he basically goes on the run, it doesn't stop. He's running away from corrupt cops. He's running away from the mob. And he's running away from the general public most of the time because these false stories are being put out there that he's a murderer, he's murdered a cop, he's done this, he's done that. So there's all these news stories going around. So it would seem, and it quite unbelievably so at times, literally everywhere he goes, somebody's like, oh, it's him from the TV. This is the guy that's killed the cop or whatever. So he's just never. I would imagine Patrick Dempsey was absolutely knackered filming this because he never stops. He's literally running or charging about like a whippet. And it's very, very exciting to watch. You know, as I've said, some of the situations are completely unbelievable, and it's very over the top and a bit silly and here and there. But I guarantee you, you know, there's a death in this film, death by hair, shall we call it? Death by, yeah, death by bunny. I will call it that. And you've never seen a death like this in a film. I mean, completely over the top, wacky shit going off. But it ticks the boxes in regards to, it keeps you on the edge of your seat, this one. It's unbelievable, but not to the point where it puts you off, sort of thing. It keeps you engaged throughout because this Charlie kid is very, very likable. He's got a lot of charisma. Yeah, some of the humorous stuff he does here and there can be construed as annoying here and there. And initially, his character is very arrogant and self-confident. So he has to tap into other sides of his personality to survive this, i.e. his intelligence, you know, and his quick thinking and all that kind of stuff. So he's got a lot of traits that kind of lets him cling on and fight for survival, and it works. He works really, really well in this situation. And Kelly Preston as well. Wow. I mean, she was mind-blowingly beautiful, wasn't she, Kelly Preston? This was... I mean, I know she left us way too early in 2020, I think she was. I don't even think she was 60 when she passed away. But my God, what a stunning woman she was. And she kind of ends up being the love interest, I suppose you could say here. She works in the casino. She witnessed everything that went on in there. He ends up kind of bumping into her again, and they kind of team up a little bit. You could argue the film didn't really need that because it didn't really go anywhere, but it kind of made for an interesting distraction, I suppose. So, classic 90s stuff here. This could have easily been a classic film review as well. But I just honestly think there's probably a lot of people watching this that have either kind of like, oh God, I remember this, or I've never seen this at all, which is why I've put this as a movie that you may certainly have missed. So if you get the opportunity, guys, you must check this one out. It's a fun 90s action thriller, breakneck pace, it doesn't stop, doesn't come up for air, got some... obviously it's got the usual kind of tropes you expect in movies like this, but you can forgive a lot when, you know, you're watching a film like this and it just kind of keeps you fairly entertained throughout. So I'm glad I revisited this one, guys, and I suggest you guys do the same if you've never seen it or if you haven't seen it for a long time. So thanks very much for the recommendation. You guys have got any more hidden gems that I may have forgotten about, or even if I've never seen at all, I will definitely check them out. I'm always interested to hear your comments, guys, on new recommendations for me. So thank you very much for joining me, guys, for this review. I hope you enjoyed it. I will of course be back with plenty more reviews on the channel very, very soon.